Hello friends. So today we would be looking at the N+1 problem, concept of lazy loading and eager loading, how they are like related, when do they occur, how we can find them, how we can identify them, solve them. So let's get started. So the N+1 problem. We say whenever we are interacting with a database, this N+1 problem can cause common performance issues, especially when we are using the default object relationship managers, the ORMs. It can have a heavy impact. Okay, so the first thing you need to understand is this N+1 we are saying is a total, is a number. Okay, what is this number? It's the total number of queries that we are making to a database. Okay, so let's suppose there is a user database and we have a lot of users. Okay, and maybe there is a separate table. Actually it would be user database and the table would be user and the table would be like bookings made by the user. So user 1 has made booking B1, B2, a lot. Okay, and user 2 has similarly done something like B10, B11, whatever. Okay, so how do we fetch all these data? Okay, one approach would be, first I query the user. Okay, and I get like user 1 through the query. Then I try to fetch all the bookings associated with this user. So I will get B1, I will get B2. Okay, but see what is happening here. If it is like very less number of bookings, okay, that is more or less, I would say, acceptable depending upon your context. But if it's like a big enterprise application and you have like thousands of bookings, you're querying your database 1,000 times to get this. This is not a very good approach. Okay, so here suppose you wanted to list all the bookings of 5 users. Okay, I'm assuming each user has like 1,000 bookings for them. So with this approach, you see how many queries are being made. So let's see for one, why we are seeing N+1, because one query we made for user and 1,000 queries we made for the booking. So here N+1 is 1001. Okay, the 5, it will come to 5005. So this is a major issue. Okay, when we are having these kind of codes or these kind of problems, okay, one is by the default ORMs when we use. Okay, it's very easy to use, but if they are fine-tuned or if they are configured, okay, this way, this is going to cause the N+1 problem with ORMs. Sometimes we even write loops like this. So I would just list it when we can have this issue. ORM defaults. Okay, then we sometimes loop like this. It's very common in APIs. Okay, what we do if there is an endpoint to list the bookings. Somehow we have seen that developers are using this, okay, because the parameter would be the user ID. Okay, you take user ID, and but the response we want is all the bookings, and we just loop it. That's not good. Fine. Till now I've not introduced in the topic here lazy loading. Okay, so this is equivalent to lazy loading. Okay, we are very lazy, we don't want all the data at once. Okay, lazy loading. Okay, so whenever we have some task, right, 10 number of tasks, we say okay, finish the first one very swiftly, which doesn't take much effort, then we will wait and we will go again and do the another stuff. So people call us lazy, right? So here lazy loading is in terms of fetching the data. Okay, now because I've started the topic with N+1 problem, let's see how do we solve the N+1 problem, and then in the same way I would introduce other related topics. Fine, solve. So I would say in green, solve N+1 problem. Okay, so the first thing is, because N+1 was lazy, so we would do something like eager loading. Yep, so eager loading is who is an eager person, like who wants a lot of things, like okay, give me this, give me promotion, give me all the money. So we are like eager to get a lot of things. So here we can think of eager loading. See, everything has pros and cons. I would explain them like in the end of the video, when lazy loading can be good, when eager loading can be good, and all those things. But I'm just trying to go like in a path where I can tell it like a story. Okay, let's see. So here what we would do, we do a eager loading. What we would do in the same query, I would try to fetch everything like user1 and all its booking, whatever, user2, b4, b5, b6. This would look familiar to you, huh? We have done something like that. This in real sense is just what we are doing, the joins. Okay, so you already know joins. You are like fetching a lot of data from different tables and presenting it. So it's all a different wording, I would say. This is joins. Like we have the movies, right, where the people remove the mask and behind the scenes there's something else. So this is joins, one way of eager loading. There can be other ways as well, but okay, purpose of this video, I think you get the way how do we can do eager loading. How else we can solve the N+1 problem? Anything coming to your mind? Okay, The second thing is batch processing or the batch way. Okay, what do we do here? We will make one query to get all the users, user 1 2 3 4, and we will make one more query to get all the bookings of these users. So maybe like a in parameter. Okay, fetch all bookings where user id is 1 2 3 4. So we'll get everything. So how many times we have called the db? Just 2 times, right? Then we will form our response, something like a for loop. We will try to match and present. Okay, so we are just doing batch of 2 queries, and once we have everything, then we are like mapping it at our end. This can also have implications and other things, so everything needs fine tuning. Okay, best fit in terms of data set, how fast your processing power is, okay, context of your work. But fine, this is a way where we can remove the N+1 problem. You should understand the terminology, and then your mind will open. Okay, this is batch processing, it's nothing, it's just firing 2 queries. Fine. Okay, there would be other ways as well to solve the N+1 problem, but it is not, I would say, very query specific. So it's implied like N+1 is giving performance issues. What do you do? Okay, so we try to fetch the data in terms of a range, or we split the data. Okay, there are 1,000 bookings. We just want first 50 bookings, and then we will give another query for the next 50 bookings and so on. So I would say it is split fetch of the data, or go range wise. Okay, this will also improve. So if you have N+1, keep this in mind also. Okay, just increasing the font. What else? Then other concepts of general database query optimizations and things like stored procedures will flow, but these are not direct, right? We know this. How do we do? We can create views to pre-compute and get the data beforehand, right? But just for memory purpose, we are keeping it here. We are doing query optimization also. Okay, I would give an interesting point here. We would have heard, or some people would have heard, the GraphQL data loader utility. Okay, it's very fast. Under the hood, it uses batch. Okay, so here, example, GraphQL data loader. I hope you're following it. I'm trying to be slow and not just rush about things, taking some pause so that you can comprehend and you can just try to memorize and just imbibe. Okay? Fine. I said about the point for eager loading as well, right? Sometimes lazy loading is also good. We'll come to that. Okay, and sometimes eager loading is also bad. I think let's go to those aspects when it's good and when it's bad. Okay, so if we are going for eager loading, that means we are having a lot of data at our hand. Okay, and we will store it somewhere, right? But if the machine or the server is not of a very high calibration, we can run into the out of memory error. Okay, when we are going with eager loading, this is a demerit. We have to be careful enough. Okay, lazy loading. So lazy loading, whenever we think of ORMs, by default they go with lazy loadings. That is the doctrine of, or why they were like thought of at the first instance. And we all know like ORM are not that bad. They're doing something good, right? So what it is? When we only need a subset of data and just its relation, then this is very good. Okay, but we have to be careful enough to have the flow of the second part to maybe the UI. Okay, so suppose we have fetched user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4 with the ORM. Okay, and we should not have every booking without wanting them in the UI. So it should be whenever we've clicked them, then fetch the bookings. It should be not like, okay, I have done the lazy loading and also I have the data of the bookings in my background. Okay, but I'm not showing it. That's not the purpose. So what will happen? The query time will increase, but still your users are not getting the benefit, right? They're not seeing the bookings in the UI. So why would you do that? So let's look, how do we identify if there is a N+1 query problem? Identify. This is a crucial step. Okay. What can be the symptoms? So one point would be, sometimes the fetch is good, but sometimes the fetch is slow. So the more data your application is trying to retrieve, then it would be slower, right? Suppose there is a user who has just 2 bookings. It works absolutely fine. Or maybe in your test environment, you have a small set of data for tests. There everything is working fine. Okay. But whenever you have large customers or large set of data, you are experiencing the issue. That means more data to fetch is very expensive, that you see. Okay, whenever you have large set of data, it's very slow. You would say more data, yes, it would be slow, but database are designed to be such to handle large amount of data, right? But if you see a very disproportionate response time to other queries, that means there is can be a N+1 problem. Okay, Second would be like in logs, okay, or maybe at the network level. You see, many things are going, okay, lot of queries, or maybe at the database level itself we can see how many queries are fired. So I would say is count, if we have a way to count how many queries are getting fired. Sometimes if we go at the network level, we would say network latency between your application and the DB. Okay, and we would say in such cases it would be very challenging to scale your application because you are already stuck with this. So I would say another approach to find this would be code reviews. It with bare eyes during code reviews, if we find them, that's a very advantageous position. Then comes the more complex part. Okay, ORM debugging. If we have ORMs and we are facing these issues, try to see it. Okay, for an example, like suppose we have used entity framework ORM in .NET. Okay, so it has some features for configuring it for eager loading. Okay, and we can use include statements which can help fetch data in a single query. So you get the things like, look at your ORM, does it have some configurations you can try? Okay, maybe there is something similar in Hibernate, Django ORM, anything, there would be, else it would be a difficult position for those providers. Okay, fine. Last I would say is monitoring tools. These are getting very advanced now. Okay, so we have a lot of things like Datadog, Dynatrace, and many more. There you would by default see some feature like N+1 insights. So you don't need to do everything like this, like in a manual way. Still, these are like good practices, but if you have a tool like that in production or in lower environments, that's a win-win situation. Monitoring tools. Okay, fine. Let's just recap what are the issues that we see, why they are bad, the N+1 query problem. Disadvantages. The first would be performance degradation, going down. Okay, on the UI level, on the response level to the customer, it's bad, right? They are not getting their bookings very fast, at least on the display. But on the infra level, you're also taking a hit, right? There is a DB, you're calling that again and again. Okay, maybe there are different data sets, different table used for a different application, so you are putting your DB under pressure. Okay, so it's increased load. Third, if you have already ran into your issue like N+1, get rid of them because you can survive. Okay, you try to increase the DB space, you try to increase processing powers, right? You try to have multiple DBs, you try to have multiple servers, but there's a pain point which is not getting solved. Okay, it will come up again like a demon. What I'm trying to mean is scalability issues. For scalable application, this is no, don't go with this. Fine, what else? Think I have covered overall and people should be cautious about this. Generally, people could relate it like in terms of UI. What is a lazy load of the UI? Okay, eager loading, we don't see it generally in the UI, but when we are at the backend UI level, the backend level, people will talk about, okay, are you doing lazy loading? Is your ORM configured for eager loading? And you would be in a toss. What are these people talking about? Am I lagging behind? Is it really high architect level stuff? I could not reach that level. So people get in doubt. Okay, sometimes even like experienced people, they know joins, they know how to optimize queries, how to handle things, at how to fire queries so that we don't fetch everything. That's all fine, but sometimes in the interview you would be asked, wow, have you heard about the N+1 query problem? And oh no, he would be nervous, and then people would say, not good. So yeah, that was my approach to let you as a story. Okay, hope you enjoyed it. I would be making further videos. As you would see, it's like just from my experience, nothing like mugged up or nothing like prepared. In my spare time, I'm just trying to give it to the community, help newer people or even experienced people to get into the stuffs. That's why I've created my channel. Okay, the main aim is like to demystify software engineering. It is very easy. Okay, second, I would like to bust jargons. Okay, every day or every week and something new would come and people would be like off guard, off breeze. But if you think, okay, why was this terminology introduced, and then you try to relate it and have it as a concept, it would go a long way. Okay, and I try to form my videos and learnings from an like people of all backgrounds or people who are like new or in college or even just starting off, or even if they have changed their educational background and are switching to coding engineering, they can also understand. And people who are also experienced, maybe they can get some advantage from my video. So that's my way of looking at it. I'll try to improve and be more, I would say, structured and prepared so that I don't take extra time in the videos. Because, yeah, the best thing that I would say is understand fully in less time. So, what's the use if you need to read like a full tutorial or a full book to understand very less? That's a waste of time, also, right? I'm not saying that books are not good. If you have time, that's the best thing we can do. Okay, in all sense, like general book reading, a software engineering book reading. But people usually don't have so much time with their jobs and other commitments. Yep, so my one of my goals would be to be crisp and have everything in a small video in itself. So please do follow, do subscribe, and I would try to be regular. And your I would say encouragement would try try I will try to be more eager to the videos rather than being lazy. Okay, lazy video uploading to eager video uploading. I would be happy. Okay, somebody would be waiting to listen me. Okay, rather than I will take my time. Okay, I'm not in a good state to do it now. Enough of talk at the back end. Okay, hope you enjoyed this. If you have any queries, I will share my emails. You can also post a comment here. Okay, and we also provide free mock interview